The headlines: Premier and President awarded highest medal. Chairperson of Opidio APRDF says Opidio led its people to victory. Hello and welcome. This is OBN. Today is the 7th day of the Ethiopian New Year 2011. Welcome. I'm Anwar with the news. Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Dr. Abiy Ahmed, and President of Eritrea, Isaias Afwerki, presented with highest Saudi Arabia award in recognition of the vision, courage, and statesmanship they demonstrated to end the war and bring about peace between the two countries. President Isaias Afwerki of Eritrea and Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Dr. Abiy Ahmed, have been presented by King Salman bin Abdulaziz, Saudi Arabia's highest medal, the Order of King Abdulaziz, on 16th September. The award was presented during the ceremony King Salman bin Abdulaziz of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia hosted in Jeddah in the presence of Mr. Antonio Guterres, UN Secretary General, Sheikh Mohammed bin Salman, Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince, and Minister of Defense Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan, UAE's Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, and others. At the event, President Isaias Afwerki and Prime Minister Dr. Abiy Ahmed signed the Jeddah Peace Accord in the presence of King Salman, other Saudi dignitaries, and the United Nations Secretary General. In a similar way, the two leaders were awarded with the highest Abu Dhabi honor, the Zayed Award, on 24th July 2018. Shabihat.com reported. Chairperson of Opidio APRDF, Dr. Abiy Ahmed, who is also Prime Minister of Ethiopia, said lack of unity has made Oromo people stay under the operation yoke for many years. And he said eventually Opidio has led its people to victory. Here is Leta Teresa for Shafarat Address Report.
Chairperson of Oromo People's Democratic Organization and Ethiopian People's Revolutionary and Democratic Front, who is also Prime Minister of the country, Dr. Abiy Ahmed, in an exclusive interview with Oromia Broadcasting Network, said the Oromo people have richest culture, history, and its own identity. However, the nation was far away from victory for 1.5 centuries. According to the Prime Minister, lack of unity was one of the factors that paved the way for antagonistic groups to exploit the resource of the Oromo people.
Primarily, what threatened Oromo people is lack of solidarity, not only as a nation, but also the political parties established by Oromo people's name used to suffer, to struggle in unison, because there were spies with them. This means lack of solidarity went to the party level. It also threatened the nation.
Dr. Abiy pointed out that political parties that struggled for Oromo people lacked solidarity for many years and left their people in chaos.
The second problem was lack of winning mentality, which was a result of lack of proper strategy in the Oromo struggle. If there is no proper political strategy, it is difficult to transform the public, become winner, and mobilizing them.
Prime Minister Dr. Abiy underscored that the victory of Oromo people was delayed due to the failure of Oromo political parties in mobilizing the public in a strategic way.
The Oromo people have attempted so many things and paid huge sacrifices to reverse the situation. The problem of political parties was not only failure to identify the conspiracy of the conspirators, but also lack of appropriate strategy, because they lead struggle being far away from the public. They used to inspire the public being far away. The delay of our victory is not for the strength of our force, but for we fail to mobilize and ensure our freedom and democracy.
The chairperson underlined that with the sacrifices that the Oromo People's Democratic Organization has paid, the Oromo people became victorious. What he said is a good lesson.
The Oromo People's Democratic Organization, or PDO, has struggled for Oromo people, identifying the problem of these people and being within them. The others did not stay here, rather they fled. However, OPDO has played a key role to bringing the already gained victory being hated by the people and suspected by other parties. But it is able to realize this victory paying huge sacrifices. This happened due to the leaders and other members present together in the struggle. But if OPDO had made the struggle being in Kenya, we couldn't achieve this victory. It should be a lesson.
Head of Rural Politics and Member Mobilization with the OPDO Central Office, and also a spokesperson of the conference, Adisu Araga, has briefed the media on the 9th organizational conference of OPDO, the Oromo People Democratic Organization, to be held in Jimma Town from September 18 to 20 as of tomorrow, 2018. Tamaskan Mulat reports.
The 9th organizational conference of OPDO will take place in Jimma Town from 18 to 20 of September under the theme Winning Idea for Further Victories. In connection with the conference, head of Rural Political Mobilization with OPDO Central Office and the spokesperson of the conference, Disuaraga, has briefed media. He said preparation has been finalized for the conference. According to him, on the opening session of the conference, chairperson of the organization, Comrade Dr. Abiy Ahmed, is expected to deliver opening remarks. Adisu said more than 2.5 million members of the organization will participate on the conference through their representatives. The spokesperson underscored that in the current conference, after thorough discussion, critical decisions will be made. Sisterly parties will also deliver their supportive message, Adisu added. The spokesperson underlined that on the conclusion of the conference, the leaders who lead the organization up to the next conference will be elected. Adisu thanked residents and carers of Jimma Zone and Town for their welcoming the participants and called upon them to sustain it.
Some scholars witness that Kero Oromos are peaceful force that struggle to realize freedom and human rights in the country. Olma Baina reports.
Scholars of RC University say Kero is a pillar in the political transformations that have been registered in the country. They also said the youth should consult elders while striving to bring about tangible and lasting peace and security in their country.
Okay, the attribute we attach to this young generation should be of valid nature. That means relevant to the expression due Kero. Kero is not the tool of disturbance. And Kero is not non-peaceful either. Kero is a peaceful force of change. And this is what every young generation brings to the nation when it comes to peace and productivity. And this does not happen by chance, but through planned action. It must be intentional, and not only intentions, it must be free of emotions when we do things. And discussion is important. Constructive debate and dialogue is also very important. And at times, it's also necessary to refer to elders, because we are products of a family and we are products of generations, not just a generation. No generation has ever existed in the absence of others. So Kero is a force of change.
Kero's revolutionary movement, it is a total Ethiopian young people's movement. This is my conclusion, because in every part of Ethiopia, there is a need of change as a total. That change is not for the benefit of the young people, but only for themselves. It is more concentrated on the total change of the peoples through economic change, political change, and also way of administration of change of the total country. So all these contributions of the Kero and the all young peoples are dedicated for reform of Ethiopia, not for total revolt of Ethiopia, of revolution.
Unfortunately, many people misunderstood Kero. Some people even thought as if they are terrorists or unorganized robbing group, but that was not the reality. Despite different problems that were existing in Oromia, especially the government was using excessive forces against them. Keros were so disciplined, and they didn't rob anything in the region, especially in the country. Kero was successful, I can say, because they have brought so many changes. Even if they were not the only force behind it, they were enforcing the change to come in Oromia region.
The scholars said the youth should be formally organized in order to sustain the change being registered and fight against any move that hinders the benefit of people.
Well, it's good to have ways of ascertaining the exact role the young generation should play for the change of the nation. And the long-range effect of this change should also be scrutinized first. Where is it taking us? Because we don't remain Kero forever. Tomorrow may bring us something new and something which is more advanced. So we shouldn't overconsume our might today, which we can use tomorrow. A person plays one role at a time, after all. We cannot chew and whistle. So young people should learn that they can do one thing today that should be developmentally seen and productive to the nation and to themselves.
Our Kero and young people has to be try to bring reforms through a deep discussion with their elders. And also they have to be organized in a formal ways, which can be enables them to control their members, to not go out of the line of their struggle. Today, it seems that different types of movements are heard from different corners, which is not legalized. And these types of illegalized types of movements maybe brings the total destruction of their struggle, which is already registered at this moment, and the world gives a great appreciation. You see, love and pardon is announced throughout the country.
The scholars have noticed that Kero Oromos are not struggling only for Oromo people's freedom, but for all nations and nationalities and peoples of Ethiopia.
Kero started the struggle from the Oromia region, but as you can see, the Kero spirit is already distributed to different regions. You can take Fano in Amhara region. There were also youth movement in Somali region. The spirit of the Kero, their idea is already spread in the Horn of Africa. So Kero is not only struggling for Oromo. Even Oromo by its nature didn't struggle for itself only. The question of the Oromo people in the past 60 or 50 years was to bring inequality and justice among different nations and nationalities in Ethiopia. So as a majority or as people located in strategic place in Ethiopia, Kero has to have other people alongside themselves, and they have to continue struggling for the equality of others too. That's what they have been doing, I think.
Yeah, Keros are freedom fighters, and Fanos in Amhara, Zarmas in Gwage, and Jeto in Sidama people, and that they fought for peace and democracy in the nation. Scholars and media professionals witnessed that freedom of media is being realized in the country since Dr. Abiy Ahmed has assumed power as Prime Minister of Ethiopia. Mukhtaji reports.
Emmanuel Abdissa is a lecturer and a laureate in media and journalism at Addis Ababa University. He said press freedom is guaranteed by the Constitution of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia.
Press freedom is a freedom which working journalists are exercising in their organization, in their activities. I think this freedom is guaranteed, especially in our country, the only country who has a press law, especially based on the Constitution of Ethiopia.
Tolega Africa's Director General of Oromia Media Network, Fimfine Branch, he witnessed that different media in Ethiopia were unable to provide alternatives to information that public deserve to have on time over the past 2 decades.
The ruling party wanted to impose its own interests, political perspective, and power on it. The ruling party wanted to dominate Ethiopia through power, through oppression. And one of the role of the media is, as you know, is to empower the people, to provide different alternatives, political alternatives. So the ruling party was not interested with this. That's why the ruling party wanted to jam every outlet.
Gamidi Olana, a journalist and communication specialist, said press freedom in Ethiopia was very poor during the past 2 decades, by which mainstream media were unable to express the true will of the public.
The press freedom in Ethiopia during the past 2 decades is so poor, and people are not willing to say nothing on media, and media itself, especially mainstreaming media itself, cannot express the true willing of the people and the true grief of the people. Rather, they used as a puppet for government propagandas and to just shadow the government's politics in meantime.
Former OBN journalist who is currently working for OMN, Yuhunengida, said media is meant to realize democracy and democratic state, which was not successful in Ethiopia, adding remarkable progress has been observed in the country in terms of realizing press freedom.
The press freedom has been showing a remarkable progress in Ethiopia, but still a lot is expected to be improved in this regard.
There is a great change, there is a great transformation in every aspect in our country, and the media is also one of the institution which is affected by this change and the transformation.
The professionals underscored that progress in press freedom will add various responsibilities to both journalists and social media users in Ethiopia.
Social media has brought other obligations, such as the privacy right, the responsibility of sending message as well as receiving message and consuming message, utilizing message, editing message. The mainstream media is no more authority nowadays, because the authority is reduced because of social media.
Yes.
The authority in the newsroom is reduced. Therefore, you have to include it. It has to be inclusive.
Yes.
So, integration is, I think, very important.
Our people must be careful of fake accounts and the people who write the most bad information that instigates conflicts between two ethnic groups, between religions, and between different groups of the society. So we must be careful the information we get from social medias, and we must use the only authenticated social media account holders, either it is individuals or companies that disseminate news.
They said the government has to revive the regulatory mechanism for both social and mainstream media.
The regulatory body or the government side, they have to revise the regulatory mechanisms, trying to create conducive environment to accommodate, to integrate all those technological devices for the same purpose. I think we have the same agenda that we want to achieve nowadays. So we have to integrate our media channels, available channels, and use for our transformation.
Thank you for watching. Up next comes Pick of the Week. I'll be back with that. Stay tuned.